how did you come up with this idea? And then why did you not pursue 9 to 5? You have roughly $40,000 debt, and you're like, you know what? I would not take a job which will pay off this debt. I would instead risk all my savings and try to do something completely different.
Being a startup, you cannot afford to give high salaries in the early stages. So ESOP is designed in a way where you can actually give a certain percent of equity to your early joiners.
How did you find the co-founder? And what are like your insights and experience? How do you start raising funds?
So we have raised about $100,000 from an investor here in Michigan.
You're obviously on F1 visa OPT. How does that work? What do you need to do to make sure that you are active on your status and you're legal and all of that?
You can file for H1B, but your company needs to have funds. So if you have raised enough funds to show to USCIS that you can self-sponsor yourself for maybe say next 3 years, only then you go for H1B.
STEM OPT, you cannot be unpaid. It has to be paid. And then two, you also can be fired, or you have to show that you can be fired to maintain that employer-employee relationship. So how is that going to work out? Before we dive into all the strategies and stories that we're going to discuss in this podcast, let me ask you this. Do you have a clear job hunting strategy to get an internship or a full-time job? Most people don't, and it's costing them opportunities. I've helped over 1,100 students with their strategies through my ultimate job hunting course.
And trust me, I'm not even kidding. I could see so many recruiters viewing my profile.
And it's been the best investment I've ever made.
The content is incredibly practical, filled with tips and strategies that make you stand out to recruiters.
It was one of the best courses that I have done till date.
This course covers everything that you need to stand out. You will get ultimate resume course, you will get ultimate LinkedIn course, networking strategy, access to 1,100 plus job seekers for support, and personal support from me through WhatsApp group. I will walk you through every single step that you need with real examples and the tools that will give you an edge. I don't want you to miss any other opportunity to land your next job or an internship. So check the link in the description. And now I will let you enjoy the podcast. Thank you, Vipul, for doing this. I am excited to talk about entrepreneurship on F1 visa. And again, thank you so much for reaching out. There are less people like you who's willing to come and share the journey, plus also want to help other aspiring entrepreneurs. So I'm excited to, deep dive into how to start the company and like all the legal jargons and also the emotional side of the starting a company and all of it. So, but before we get into it, let's do like a quick intro. Where are you from? When did you come to United States? What did you do? And then what are you doing right now?
Sure. So first of all, thank you, Yudi. Thank you for having me on your podcast. I mean, the pleasure is all mine. So talking about first, let's talk about you. I mean, I've watched a lot of your videos when I was preparing for my masters in US. So I like almost my whole journey was actually planned according to your videos: where to stay, what courses to take, who to contact. So thank you for that. Like you're inspiring a lot of people. So about me, I'm Vipul Patel. Like I came from India, Mumbai. I've done my bachelor's in mechanical engineering from DJ Sangvi College of Engineering in Vileparle. Later, I moved to United States in August of 22 to pursue my master's in robotics engineering from University of Maryland, College Park, and I graduated in May. Started my company in July, and here I am, co-founder of AgroPixel AI.
Nice, amazing. So, what does AgroPixel does? If you can like also talk about that, how did that idea even came about, and then we'll deep dive into that.
Sure. So AgroPixel AI is an agricultural technology company. I mean, we are trying to build robots that can work side by side a human in a greenhouse environment. So
Mm.
it's like a harsh environment where it's like very high humidity, very high temperature, so difficult for a human to work in for long hours. We are trying to solve that problem, trying to replace, not I won't say replace, but trying to add more robots to the work area so that they can work around the clock. And
Mm.
that's about us, AgroPixel AI.
Nice, awesome. And is this like already in market, like people are buying it, or is this still in development?
No, so we registered in July of 24, and we are still in the R&D stage. We haven't rolled out any product yet.
Got
We
it.
expected to roll out a prototype maybe early next month.
Nice. Is this B2C or is it B2B?
It would be B2B.
Okay. So, and so who would be the customers?
Right. So the customers would be the major grow facilities around in Michigan. So we are targeting Michigan because Michigan is like it has a lot of agricultural scope here. So there are a lot of greenhouses, and coming like the co-founder I'm working with, he has a lot of experience in business and agriculture. Particularly, he owns a lot of grow facilities. So he will be our first client, and that's how it goes, like B2B. So we will be a business. We are also trying to market it as robots as a service. So we might
Mm.
just build a robot and we might send our whole army to a facility where they need to work for like say a couple of days. They come back, we send it to another facility. It's like that.
That is fascinating. Robot as a
Yes.
service.
Yeah.
That is cool. Which means you would also do a lot of customization based on the client's request. That
True.
hey, we don't have what you are proposing, but this is what the setup looks like. Can you get your robot to do this? Is that?
Yes.
And
Yes.
then you would customize it.
That's exactly how we are trying to work. So the first prototype would be very basic. We'll just be using in our own facility to test with actual humans who have been doing that work since like 20 years. So we'll get more inputs from them. Then we'll send out to other customers, take their inputs, and obviously go on iterating things.
Amazing. And what's your role?
So I am the technical co-founder, and I'm leading the technology. Basically, I've done my bachelor's in mechanical and master's in robotics, so that helps me to, kind of go through it.
Nice. I would love to do like a separate podcast on UMD and Masters in Robotics,
Right.
but not in this one today. I want to focus more on entrepreneurship and F1 visa and how to start
Right.
and all of it. Let's also dive into how did you come up with this idea, and then why did you not pursue 9 to 5?
I mean, that's a really interesting question. I've been getting that a lot. So about this idea, this struck me back in COVID when I was in my
Mm,
hometown. I mean, most of India was at their hometown. So even I was there. I came like I worked in the agricultural field. Got to know that there is very much shortage of people. I mean, they cannot find people to work there. Obviously, in India, since the farm sizes are pretty small, they cannot actually afford big robots to come and work there. So, I mean, that's the origin of this idea. Later, I came to US. I was actually thinking about that. Like, in my free time, I was building some mechanisms, sort of mechanisms, which can actually automate things in a field in real
mm,
time. So, coming towards my second year, I thought that like I came to a approach where I actually had a simulation where it was the robot was able to remove leaves from the plants, and that's the point where I started reaching out to people with similar interest and got to know that yes, this is also an interesting field in US. US is also agriculture. I mean, it's not completely an agricultural country, but it has like a very vast
yeah, there are
agricultural
spots
field.
which
Yeah,
are focused on agriculture.
true. So that's how I thought, yeah, let's give it a try.
Mm,
Then luckily I found a co-founder, and that's how I went. Like coming to the second question, like why not 9 to 5? So for me, I think like I have never been into a corporate world. Like I have never earned big salaries. I didn't even have a RATA which could pay my tuition. So I I kind of learned to live the minimal way possible, and I could
mm,
actually live in the least amount of money in a per month. So I just in my mind I just thought that let's just try this. I can still live for a year like this, like struggling, hustling, and then maybe after a year, let's see how this goes. And maybe after a year, if this doesn't work out, then we'll think about something else. Yeah.
mm. So, what you're saying again? How much did the UMD cost?
All right. So UMD cost me actually around $36,000 for tuition. I had a part-time job in the university, so that kind of covered my living expenses. Uh, yeah,
Got it. So, you have roughly $40,000 debt,
yeah,
and you're like, you know what? I would not take a job which will pay off this debt. I
yeah,
would instead risk all my savings and try to do something completely different because you're passionate. You want to. is it the passion for the technology or is it the passion for the entrepreneurship or
Uh,
both?
so it, yeah, so it's kind of both. Like the passion for entrepreneurship mostly came from the videos of Y Combinator's. Like I've been following them a lot
Mm.
since COVID. So that's how like I watched most of their videos that they post online. I've read a lot of their blogs, stories,
You
and
guys gonna apply for it?
yes, we have applied for this batch. Let's hope for the best if we get it.
Nice,
So
amazing.
yeah, so that's about that, and about the actual concept of robots in agriculture. That's actually close to my heart. I mean, I've seen people working in agricultural field, and it's not really easy for them to work there. So why not just replace that with your robots who kind of doesn't have feelings and who can just go in hot environment, humid environment, get things done. So that was the thing.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Again, I would love to do like a separate video on a bunch of other topics, but I want to dive into more logistic questions. Hey, before we move on to the next part of the video, I want to quickly talk about our newsletter community, which you can be part of absolutely free. We are now going strong and we have more than 40,000 people in our newsletter community. So imagine 40,000 people are receiving my newsletter every single week, twice a week, where I break down all of the stories that we did and make it a valuable resource for you. So if you're someone who doesn't have time to watch this and you just want to get an email with all of the resources into an email, that is the place to be. I'll put the link in the description. I'll give you some example. This is the one for Tanvi, where how she got 2 co-ops and she paid off her entire master's fees. This is an example of Maya, where she got 3 co-ops and she paid off her fees plus a little bit of savings. Here is an example of Sahil, who got his green card in 3 years. Here is an example where we shared bunch of resources on job hunting. So I promise this is going to be valuable resource for you, and it doesn't cost you anything. If you want to be part of our newsletter community, link will be in the description, or you can go to link.udj.com/newsletter. This is the URL. And now I'll let you enjoy the video. So you got this idea, you came to United States, you're pursuing your master's in robotics, and then you graduate.
Right,
At this point you decide like, okay, I'm not going to pursue a corporate job right now, even though you could get into Tesla and Rivian and all these companies who are getting into
right,
robots and all of it. uh, you are saying that I have this idea and I have this vision and I want to execute this. You obviously have to have a company.
right,
For the first year of OPT, it can be unpaid.
right.
So how did you come, like, what what was the first thing you did after you graduated to make sure that your clock of 90 days of unemployment doesn't start, or you don't run out of it? So
Right.
how does this thing, like, is the first step to incorporate the company, or what's the first step?
So for me personally, like as I said, I started reaching out to people in my second year. So by my final semester, I actually had a co-founder who was as much passionate about the idea as I am. So we kind of decided in my final semester that we are going to start a company, and we'll figure out the paperwork before I graduate, so that as soon as I graduate, I'll have a place, like I'll have an offer letter which I can show to USCS and continue working on it. So yeah, so what we did is I graduated, I worked in May, and then in July we incorporated a C corp, basically a Delaware C corp, and we finalized the domain and everything, and then we just got out a simple website, started working on the back. So the actual work for this company began way earlier. So I don't know if you're asking that. So the actual work actually began in the final semester, where I was working on the simulations. I was preparing pitches uh, to show to investors, early investors, and stuff like that. So yeah, it,
Hmm.
it, it all started back then. So first thing you need to do is figure out that will this thing actually work. So
Hmm.
get like put some time into it, put like 2-3 months, and see if there is actual demand for this product, and then jump into registering a company. It's pretty easy, it's not difficult to register a company. I mean, you can get it done in a day. So
Yeah.
that's pretty easy, but first you need to figure out that yes, this is a thing that I kind of want to do, and then just register and go from there.
Got it. So again, we're not going to discuss the product market fit because there could be like a whole thing on this.
Right.
You figure out the product market fit by stimulation, running all of it.
Right.
Then you found a co-founder. How
Right.
did you find a co-founder, and what are like your insights and experience so far, like now that you found a co-founder? Like, what do you look for, and how do you find it, and all of
Right.
that?
Right. So it's actually an interesting story. So I started reaching out to people in my final semester. As I said, on I used LinkedIn as a source to reach out to people, like to high net worth individuals and the people who actually own a greenhouse facilities here in United States. So they
Hmm.
get so that I can get more insights from them. Are they using robots? Why are they not using robots? What type of, I mean, do they actually need any customized robotic solutions in their facilities? So while reaching out to people like this, I cold emailed one of the person who was actually a owner of grow house here in Michigan. So he luckily replied like after 6 days. Then we got on a call. We talked about the technology. I showed him my work, that this is something that you could actually implement in your greenhouse, and he was actually interested in it. I mean, he didn't come from a technical background, but he has a lot of business knowledge. So kind of like he handles all the finances and everything in our startup. So that's how I actually found my co-founder. Later, I flew to Michigan. We said, like, we talked about like a lot of things. We talked how this will work, why we should do this, and he also tried to explain me that you just, I mean, the same point that you're saying, that you have a lot of tuition fees on you. Like, will you be able to focus on this? Because I am the technical co-founder, and he is kind of not aware about the technology that's going on. So yeah, we talked about everything. We put things on paper, and that's how like we decided that, yeah, let's go for this.
Got it. Okay. I'm going to put myself in the shoes of an aspiring entrepreneur and run some scenarios. And you guide me as a guide, as a mentor. Like, you're just one step ahead of me. So I'm going to help you. I mean, you're going to help me take these next steps. Okay. So
Sure.
I am doing my master's in computer science. I
Right.
get this great idea about this tech product using AI.
Right.
I want to I think it's going to solve the problem. I have created a free beta version as a side project. 1,000 plus users are using it, and I am like, okay, it looks like this is going to be a good idea. I should like incorporate.
Right.
I, in this case, I also know a friend who is really good into like relationship marketing and CRO type stuff. So I'm
Right.
gonna approach this person, found it, found a co-founder. We are a good match for a company. Now, of course, I'm gonna graduate. So I need to one have some form of money, and I know for first year of OPD, I don't need paid job. It just
Right.
needs to be related to my study. So in this case, I am going to be the one who's developing the tech because my computer science degree. Now, what do I need to do after I found the co-founder? Like, do I register the company? And you said it's an online type C. Why do people do type C?
Right. Yes, to answer your question, you should, like, if you have a product which you think is gonna work, so you need to register a company to apply to various various programs, incubators. They also guide you like how to apply how to form a company, how to do stuff. But like, it's advised that you first register a C corp. C corp, basically, why? Because it has the easiest format to issue equity, basically.
Hmm.
There is LLC, which is really simple. I mean, it doesn't have much options to issue equity. C Corp has the more, I mean, it's kind of called the investor friendly company. That's why most of them try to go there. So investors, even if you're an LLC, so that there's a story behind this. We were actually an LLC before this. Then we didn't look into much about this. We registered as an LLC. We just started, and then the funding round came. We reached out to investors. The investors are like, "Oh, this is the first thing you need to change." I mean, as being an LLC, it's not easy for us to put money in, even if it's a little amount. It's not easy for us to put and get things on paper. So we did that. We actually transferred to C Corp. Delaware C Corp is preferred. I mean, it's the kind of thing that's easy to
Yeah,
set
and
up.
for people
Yeah,
who don't know, again, Delaware is a state in
yeah.
United States which is more business friendly. That's why people prefer to do Delaware C Corp. Then the next immediate question is like, I don't live in Delaware. I don't even have an address. So what do I do?
You don't need to have an address in Delaware. I mean, you don't even have to be in the US to set up a company. You can just set up companies to there are a lot of websites. You can just go on that. You can just put like few details. It doesn't cost much. It costs about a maximum of $200 to register a company. So that's how you can do it. You don't need to be in the Delaware. I mean, even we are not in Delaware. We are based out in Michigan, but still we chose Delaware as the state to register our business.
Right. Okay. Um, do you know what tool did you use? Like, I know there's Zen Business, there's LegalZoom, there's
Yeah.
Stripe Atlas.
So
Yeah.
we went with LegalZoom, and
Okay.
yeah, it was pretty easy process. I mean, I asked out a few people, and they are like, "Oh, this is something we have done with." So I'm like, "Let's do it."
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm treating this podcast as also like a handbook or a guide for people. So when they watch it, they are like, okay, these are the tools. And so that's why if I'm asking details, it's mainly hopefully it will help some other aspiring entrepreneurs. Cool. Okay. I registered type C. It's all good.
Right,
Um, and then the equity split happens, whatever the discussion between you and the co-founder.
right.
Uh, how do you start raising funds?
Right. So, as you said, once we figure out the equity between yeah, like between the co-founders, and you also separate out some ESOPs, or maybe you separate out some equity for your early advisors. So once that is done, then you start reaching out to investors. So investors can be anyone. Can be anyone in your family. It can be any like your high net worth uncle, or like anyone who's living in US, or even in India, anyone in the world basically. Or maybe you can go to incubators. They usually like help you meet people who can put some money in your startup as a seed fund or pre-seed fund, so that you get off the ground. And you can reach out to actually like as we talked, you can reach out to angel investors. So that's kind of the best people to reach out when you are in the pre-seed stage. And to reach out to them, you need to prepare like a good pitch, like not more than 8 to 9 slides. You can just make a PowerPoint. You can just be like, oh, we are trying to solve this problem. This is our TAM. I mean, this is our market. And like this is the kind of timeline we are looking at to roll out a particular product, so that you can
Mhm.
get confidence like from the investors.
Got it. Okay. You mentioned something interesting, getting the equity for early advisors
Right.
and ESOP fools. What is ESOP, and like why do you do this?
Right. So ESOP is something where you can give your early employers some equity. As being a startup, you cannot afford to give high salaries in the early stages. So ESOP is designed in a way where you can actually give a certain percent of equity to your to your early joiners, maybe a principal engineer who you're hiring. So say I'm like a robotics engineer. I still don't have a lot of knowledge about electronics. I hire someone. I cannot pay him like a lot of money. Maybe he's working part time with me. So I'll try to allot him like 2% of equity, so that he's very much involved in the work, because that's what provides like a worth. And
Mm.
the next thing is about advisors. So advisory shares are like, we have a advisory pool where we give shares to mostly professors who are trying to help out during this process.
How are they helping or advising?
So basically, whenever we are stuck with a problem, we reach out to them that this is the thing. Hey, how can we go ahead? Or do you think that your research lab is actually working on similar problem? So maybe you can give us some insights. It's like that. So basically, I was talking to a professor. He had a team. He had students. So he is like, you just give us the problem. I'll give it to my students as an assignment, or maybe as a midterm project, and then we can figure out a solution. That how there are a lot of problems. I mean, how there are a
Mm.
lot of solutions coming up for one problem. So yeah.
Mm. Okay. So when you are registering the company, let's say Stripe or LegalZoom or whatever you use to
Right.
register, in that you are going to say, in this case, my case, the example that I gave you, let's say it's 50-50 split or
Right,
55-45 split between me and the co-founder.
right.
And is that what you put it in the registration form, or do you also say like 50 and 40, and then 10%, 5% is going to be ESOP and 5% is going to be advisory share? And then from there on, how do you start giving out this share, that okay, hey
Right.
professor, I would like you to be on our advisory board and 1% equity, but how do you give that?
Right. So it's not actually something you give. It's just things on paper. So while registering a company, you actually don't need to mention all this. You can just appoint, like, you just need one person on your board to register a company. So you can just give one name, and he registers the company. Then on the back end, all the paperwork goes in, where it's like a company has all the a structure where it's like 40% say it's for this particular co-founder. It's everything is on paper. Nothing is there on the registration form at the moment. I mean, I'm not.
So
I'm
when you are registering the company, it's just like the details of like the
right.
name and all of it. Even co-founders, do you put like two people together on there or no?
I mean, you can put two people. Even if you don't want to put two people, even one person can register it and later say that, yeah, this is my co-founder. I'm transferring this much share to him. So that can also
Okay,
work.
gotcha. Okay, so
Right.
the company is now registered.
Right.
Now the behind the scene, like you register company, and now behind the scene happens where everything is on document. So
Right.
like, what do you mean by that?
So everything on documents means you just make more contracts. I mean, you create contracts between two parties. So maybe us as a startup and the person who we are approaching. So we just create a contract. The contract says that this is the time we met. This is the amount of shares that you will get, and yeah, I mean when you will get. So that's the most important point. When the shares will actually be vested to them. That's kind of thing that's important because you need an advisor to actually participate in your startup. I mean, it's just not like he just gave one advice and you gave out the share. So it's like over a period of time. So it's like you help us for 6 months, and then at the end of 6 months, you will get this much share. So it works in that manner.
Hmm, got it. Okay. Yeah, that makes total sense. And I think I have a couple of participated where I got this opportunity where they founders reached out to me, and they gave me either 1% of the equity company, or they gave me like bunch of shares.
Right,
And it was, you're right, it was like a document that was given to me. And they called it like something interesting. They said safe note or something
yeah,
like that. And yeah, so that was something that they sent me, saying like, hey, here's the proof that when the liquidation happens, this is when you can either sell the thing, or you can keep it and let the company valuation keep growing, and at some point you can either sell your stock, or if it goes public, etc. So that
right,
was like my understanding. So I'm
right.
assuming that's what happened in your case as well.
Yes, yes, that's exactly how we raised our first round. That's exactly how we raised. So we have raised about $100,000 from an investor here in Michigan. So we have raised using SAFE. So SAFE stands for Simple Agreement for Future Equity. It was originally designed by Y Combinator back in, I guess, 2013, late 2013. It was designed then, and it is a kind of contract between two parties. It says that I'm putting in this much money, in this particular startup, and
Mm.
there are kind of three kinds of safes. So one that has a valuation cap. So you initially decide that okay, this is your particular valuation, and when in the next round when you raise more money, if you hit that valuation, my shares would be converted, whatever it is, like say you have invested a certain amount, equivalent amount of shares will be given to that person on the later price round. Then there is something called as discount, safe with discount. So in that, like say he has invested in a startup, saying it is valued at like his share is valued at $100 per share. In the later round, he gets a discount of say 20%. So his share, he can get that particular share only for $80, not
Mm.
$100. So it kind of works like that. And there is
Got
something also called as most favored nation safe. So that actually gives you access to modify your safe according to another safe note that is issued in future. So if they feel that the one that is issued later is good, I mean, it has good value, it has more value. So they have the right to actually change their terms and conditions to the one that is released recently. So
it.
these are the three types of safes. We raised our money on the basis of a discount. So we gave a discount of 25% to our investors. So whenever we raise a future price round, which would be soon, so whenever we raise that, whatever valuation we get, whatever price of share we decide, they get a flat 25% discount on that price, and their shares are vested at that time.
Amazing. I think I understand now. So, okay, going back in the journey of for you, July, you guys registered the company, you created the ESOP pool, you have advisory share, you give out the share. I know you talked about raising funds, and in this case, you said bunch of possibilities. One is friends and family, FNF round, it's called. So you reach out to the people who maybe like they know that this money might never come back, but they just
Yeah,
want to
true.
support you, and they want to give you like $5,000 or $10,000 just because they want to support your dream,
Right.
and in return you will give them some form of equity.
Correct.
So that's friends and family. Pre-seed rounds, which is where angels and incubators and all of these people, you go and reach out. How do you find these people? And then you said pitch deck, like is there, what exactly in the pitch deck do you have?
Right. To find these people, you can just, I mean, you can just Google it, or maybe if you are in a university, there is a startup cell which provides all the informations about the incubators, maybe early investors, or maybe there are people who are associated with that startup cell who are your seniors, who are at a good level in their life. They can put out some money. They can maybe give you 10,000 to just try out your idea. So it works like that. It's just you need to talk to as many people as possible. You never
Hmm.
know who's going to invest. Like you might get money from people who you thought like, oh, like
Mhm.
he will definitely not put in, or he doesn't have that knowledge about this particular industry,
Hmm.
but he will put in. So you just need to talk to as many
Hmm.
people as possible. So that's how it worked out with us too. I mean, we had this idea. We were at a meeting. My co-founder was at a meeting. He was there for some other work. He just pitched this idea to another person who was running basically an investment firm. He got interested in that idea, and then we talked more. We talked about our timeline when we are launching products, how he will get his returns, and that's how we raised like $100,000.
Got it. And sorry, this is so fascinating to me. So I'm gonna ask you like more question.
Sure.
So, how do you determine? Maybe you're not at that stage yet, but how do you determine? Because I keep hearing seed round we're gonna raise $1 million, and
Right.
then Series A we want to raise 6 million. How do you determine this amount, like this much money I need to raise? Like how is that amount decided? For friends and family, I'm assuming there's no amount really decided,
Yeah.
because
No.
you're like whatever I can get initially to just uh, like keep working on this so that I can survive it. I'm assuming, so I'm gonna be sorry, I'm like going all over the place, but
Yes.
assuming we go step by step, like friends and family pre-seed round, is the reason to raise fund is mainly the survival of co-founder, and I mean co-founders, and basically I need money to continue to work on this, and someone needs to pay my bill, food,
Right.
etc. Is that the main reason?
It depends on the like co-founder to co-founder. So as you said that most of the co-founders don't actually take, I mean, most of the co-founders don't actually take money in their first year because they know that what they are getting into, and they have things figured out in their back that yes, I have a runway of 6 months for myself. So mostly the fund that we raise at pre-seed is to put into hardware, or maybe put into subscriptions, or maybe cloud storages, uh, like cloud computers or things like that, or maybe go reach out to other people, travel here and there. So go to meetings or maybe pitch, go to places where you need to pitch to investors, go to any other events. So basically, pre-seed round is for that, just to prove out that yes, this is the idea that will actually work in this particular market. So pre-seed
Mm.
money can be anything that can make you last in the industry for at least 3 to 6 months.
Mm.
By the time you can develop your product, once you have your product, you can go for seed round. I mean, you have a working prototype of it, then you can go for a seed round where you have a particular prototype. So whatever that prototype costed you, but you have that, and now you are ready to run into production, or you are ready for beta testing, alpha testing. When you're ready for those testings, you raise seed rounds, and then you build more of that particular prototypes, just to give out to people, just to put into places. And that's where I think seed round is raised. Seed round particularly has a runway of maybe say 6 months to 1 year. So we plan it in a manner that we'll have a testing for 3 months. After 3 months, we are planning to launch a particular product at this much price. So we make that calculations, and then we see, okay, that this much money would be say like 200,000 would be enough for us and my team, for me and my team to run for 6 months. We finalize that amount and we raise that much. So
Gotcha.
that's
Okay. And that could include the salary, could not
could
include the
not.
salary.
Yes,
Depends. This is very depending on the situation. So,
true.
makes sense. Okay. So, pre-seed family round is, again, I've spoken to other founder and they've said it's mainly so that I don't need to worry about finding a job and I can just focus on this.
Right,
And use this money, like again, like you said, write a lot of AI tools, so I would have to prove
yeah,
my AI subscriptions and all of it, domain cost, company registration cost, bookkeeper cost, and all of this.
right,
Uh, Seed round, now you project an expense that, okay, I think the expense is gonna be this much to
right,
actually get to like real customer one until the revenue starts to kick in. Uh, or maybe you have already started to see the revenue kick in and now you're trying to grow this, so it's like aiming for growth,
right.
and that's why you need money to fuel the growth. Is that
Correct.
fair?
Yeah, it's fair. It's fair. So it kind of actually also depends on the type of startup that you're working in. So we are mostly into hardware and software. So for
Mm,
us, I mean, we need money to actually buy the hardware. The robots, open source
mm,
robots we are working on, that cost us a lot of money, and we
mm,
definitely don't have to put that out of our pocket. So we kind of use that pre-seed money to put into hardware so that we can actually work, build our softwares onto it, and then show that yes, this thing can actually work. But for
mm.
software companies who are coding, like who don't have such hardware expenses, who just have cloud expenses and stuff, and obviously they can get early revenues. As you said, you can just roll out to 5 people, and maybe they can just
Yeah, they are
see
paying
how
like
it's working. Yeah,
$10 subscription, so they are like
yeah,
starting to see. Yeah, got it.
right,
Okay. Yeah, and maybe service based company, again, service based startups which has like tech plus services,
right,
they probably also have to pay their staff who's doing the
yes,
services. But assuming if that's service based business, that means they have a client who's already paying that, so
paying,
there's some form of revenue coming in and
right,
they're just optimizing for growth. Okay, got it. Cool. Interesting. Another question is, so you obviously all these Shark Tank, Shark Tank India, Shark Tank
right.
America, is that seed round or is that pre-seed round or is that like, or I mean, I know it's not Series A,
No,
so
no, yeah. It can be pre-seed or it can be seed. Like as we have been seeing on Shark Tank, that people come right after 2 months of launching their product. So that can be counted as pre-seed because they have initially invested their own money to build that product. Now they are ready to launch in the market. But for to launch, they need like a big facility. Maybe they need network. So that's kind of called a pre-seed round,
mm,
because that's not exactly where they have that much revenue to
mm,
maybe say sustain in the market or maybe run for next few months. So that's pre-seed. But when you see startups that come at a revenue of say 1 crore, 1 crore Indian rupees, I'm talking about Indian startups, so Indian Shark Tank. So they say come at us at a 1 crore revenue per month. So that's like not pre-seed because they already have money flowing into their company. They already have their funds which they can sustain on. So that's kind of seed money. where they
Mm.
also need some help from people and like
Yeah, so
all
it's
those
they
things.
need it for either advisory or
Yeah.
obviously now it's also most viewed show, so they probably also come for marketing as well.
Most of the startups I believe come from marketing. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I've
So
been watching Shark Tank India. Like I've watched few episodes here and there, and there I see like a lot of startups just come there for marketing. A
yeah,
lot.
yeah, yeah, and in return they're just giving out like a 1% equity or something. So it's not
Yeah,
like got it. Okay, sweet. Let's move on to more F1 type thing.
sure.
You're obviously on F1 visa OPT. How does that work? Like what do you need to do to make sure that you are active on your status and your legal and all of that?
I'm talking about same OPT. Oh yeah, so for OPT you don't actually have to get like being paid or something. You just need proper employment that is in your field. So for me, say I'll take my example. So for me, I did robotics engineering, and my startup is in robotics. So that kind of satisfies that. I need an offer letter that specifies the start date, the end date, and the person that I'll be reporting to. So that's the kind of format that you need to follow for your offer letter.
Mm.
Once you get that, you submit that to your university. You upload things on ISSS. You stop your clock right after you get your EAD. I mean, one advice, you would not want to waste even a single day on your OPD cycle, because every day counts. So I would say plan things in advance before getting your EAD. Once you get it, if you are building your own startup, so just put things on the first day itself. Put it on the USCS website that I started working on this day, and that's for OPD. So you can work with no money, no salary, nothing for 1 whole year. When you go to STEM OPD, there are a few
Wait, before
requirements.
before yeah, before you go to STEM OPT, for the first year OPT, you also another thing, another criteria is that you have to work at least 20 hours in the
Yes.
field of your education. How do you track 20 hours?
Right. So, being a startup founder, there's nothing you can work less than 60 hours. You
Yeah,
cannot.
yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Right.
but on paper, definitely you have to show that you will be full time. You'll be working full time. So maybe 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. So it says 40 hours per week you'll be working. And on on OPD, I mean, if you're a startup founder, you won't probably be getting paid, obviously, because you don't have that much money for your startup and also for you to pull money out of it. So there you won't be taking any money. So on paper, you should definitely show that you're working 40 hours, but trust me, you'll have to work a lot hard, a lot more than that.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
So, like on your first year OPT, you will be working on your startup. You need to get things on paper that, oh, I this much hours I worked on this much hours I worked on this. So that sums up like for one particular week you worked for 40 hours. So that shows that you were actually working full time on your startup and not giving time somewhere else. So
yeah,
that's kind
and
of the, yeah,
for the first year it's also just 20 plus hours, right? Like it
right,
doesn't have to be 40. Of course you will be working more than 40, but I'm saying like it'll be just 20 hours plus something. So if you're working 40, just document those hours.
right.
And by the way, I just want to put a disclaimer that neither Vipul or me
No,
are immigration lawyers, so please have immigration lawyer by your side when you're doing all of this. We're
right.
just trying to share our experiences so that way that this is something you will have to do, but we're not giving this immigration advice. Cool. Okay, so we talked about OPT. You will apply for an EAD.
Right.
Your EAD will arrive. Of course, for EAD you don't need a job offer, but your EAD will arrive, and then at that point of time you will send it to your university saying that, hey, here's my company, here's what my responsibility will look like, and I'm going to be working more than 20 hours,
Right.
and they will upload it all on save service, making sure that it's all updated.
Right.
You will you said you will also have to update it on USCIS website. Is it just the pure like EAD thing, or what do you have to update on USCIS website?
Oh, so by that I meant like the university basically handles that. So
Yeah, that's
yeah,
what.
so for us
Yeah.
there is a international department. You just give them information, they communicate with USCS, and they just do it.
Right. Yeah. So that's what I meant. Yeah. Correct. Okay. So they will update your service to make sure
Right,
that that's what you're doing.
right,
Cool. So first year OPD seems doable. Like, okay,
right.
you don't make money and just has to be related to your field. and so on and so forth. So that is good. Now comes the interesting part, which is STEM OPD. Of
Right.
course, you are not there yet. I'm assuming that will be this May, July,
July.
in your case. So how will you man, because STEM OPD you cannot be unpaid, it has to be paid, and then two, you also can be fired, or you have to show
Yes.
that you can be fired to
Correct.
maintain that employer employee relationship. So how is that going to work out?
Right. So for STEM OPD, basically you need to ensure three things. You need to maintain your employer-employee relationship. Then you need to get paid, and you need to work for a company that's e-verified. So those are the three things that's important. For a startup founder, you can show that you can be fired by your co-founder, or maybe by a board that you have formed. You'll have people on your board, advisors, anyone who's holding shares in your company can actually fire you. So you can just maintain paperwork, write contracts that yes, this is the thing. I hold this much, and I hold the rights to fire this person if he is inadequate or if it doesn't work. So that
Right.
that satisfies the first thing. The second thing is salary. So you can draw the minimum salary possible. I mean, you need to be employed for more than 20 hours. So whatever is the basic pay, minimum pay for your state, or maybe in your field, you can just draw that salary, and that's how you can show that you're getting paid.
So
And
that would mean technically that you would have to raise funds,
yes,
and then the company business account is. I'm assuming you have business company's business account separate.
yes, yes,
Yeah. So company's business account is paying you on, like, bi-weekly or whatever,
right,
monthly or bi-weekly, and
correct,
you have a pay stub which says, whatever that salary that you
right.
decide. Is that
Right, yes. So you actually need to maintain that. Like as soon as you register your STEM OPT, salaries should come into your account. You need to have proofs of that, that yes, this is the salary that's coming. You need to pay taxes. So that should be there. And the third point, that's e-verification of the company. So the company needs to be e-verified for USCIS to know that who is working at your particular company and what is this employee doing. So that is kind of things that is very much important, and it's pretty easy. E-verification can be done in a day.
Mm.
So as a startup founder, honestly speaking, these are not difficult steps, because 1 year, if you have worked really hard on your first year OPT, you will definitely raise some amount of money for you to sustain in the second and third year. So that can be done. E-verification can be easily done, and employer-employee relationship can be done. I mean, if you're a solo founder, you can take people on your board
Mm.
who have the rights for it. Like they can say that yeah, this like I can actually fire them. So that's how you can maintain it.
Yeah. Just like Uber CEO was fired.
Yeah. A lot of CEOs
I don't
have
know if
been
people have
fired.
seen that. It's called it's an amazing show, a series called Pumped. So have you watched it?
No, I haven't.
Okay, I mean, I don't know if you are into shows or not, but people should watch that series. It's called Pumped. It is about Uber's, how Uber came up, and yeah, and then in that they also show how the board fired him as well,
Right,
and why they fired him and all of it. So yeah, anyway, I was just drawing that. It clicked me when you said it. So
right,
cool. Okay, so STEM OPD good. Obviously we will need H1B or some
right.
other thing with the company start to make more money and all of it. um, I know with the recent USCIS thing, you can sponsor yourself on H1B as well through
Right.
your own company. Is that correct?
So, as we first gave a disclaimer that we are not immigration lawyers, I'm just saying what I know and what I've heard from people. So, it is basically like you can file for H-1B, but your company needs to have funds. So, if you have raised enough funds for, like, for to show to USCIS that you can self-sponsor yourself for maybe say next 3 years, only
Mm.
then you go for H-1B. I mean, because you need, say you are drawing 80,000 salary, so your bank account should have that much money for to pay
Mm.
you, and obviously other employers that would be working, employees that would be working with you, maybe your co-founder, even he is drawing salaries, so that adds up. So that whole money should be there in your account. If not in your account, the company should have a proper pathway that you're going to get this much money in this much time to pay
Mm,
them. So that's one thing. Obviously, I mean, you can go for H1B, but that is how you'll have to go. Second way is O1 visa. So O1 visas are, it's called, it's visa for founders. They have pretty good requirements which are actually satisfied by a founder. Most of them are satisfied by a founder.
yeah, it's
So you
again, it's an extraordinary ability visa category. Like a, I would say, I would call it like a younger brother of EB1. Eh?
right, correct, yeah,
uh, so yeah, that's it's for STEM people. O1A is for STEM people.
them,
O1B is for like artists and all of those.
right,
Um, so yeah, so other parts are like O1s and EB1s.
right.
That you could start building. You could build your profile and then satisfy one of those I think three
Three
criterias out of
criterias
eight
out of
for
eight, yeah,
O1. Yeah, and then hopefully that gets approved. So then you get, I think you get 3 years for O1
yes,
typically, and then you can extend it further.
right, yeah. So for the first year you get it for 3 years, and then it's renewed every year,
Oh
basically.
yeah, that's right. I
Yeah,
remember that. That's crazy. But
yeah.
hopefully within that 3 years, you built up enough profiles that you can be eligible for EB1s, and
True, 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 true.
oh,
Yeah, true. I mean,
yeah,
that's the route most of the startup founders actually go with, because maybe they don't have
even
enough.
including the founder of Perplexity, he tweeted this as well to Elon
Right,
that
right.
I still don't have my visa.
Yes, I mean that this visa system is like really a thing to be cracked in US. But right now
Yeah,
they are making it easier.
yeah.
If you see the USCIS websites for O1 visa, they have made it a lot easier. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Uh, what tools, resources would you recommend people when it comes to starting an entrepreneurship journey?
Right. So if you are in school, definitely the school's startup shell, that's the best place to go for any resources. If you pitch them, if they like the idea, they give you space to start. They give you people, like-minded people, you can connect with them. They have conferences. Maybe they have meet and greet type of things. So you can just go there, meet your seniors who have actually built things. That's definitely a good resource. You should rely on it. Second resource would be talking to more people, talking to people who have actually founded companies, who have founded but failed. Those will teach you the most. So talk to those people, and yeah, try to be up to date on LinkedIn. I mean, there are a lot of opportunities, like a lot of funding opportunities going out in LinkedIn. Like you can just reach out to people saying, "Hey, this is my particular idea. Are you interested in investing? Or let's talk more about it." And they actually kind of talk. And I was surprised that people who are actually busy in their life, they reply on LinkedIn, and it works. So
Yeah,
just reach out to
yeah.
people.
And especially international student immigrant, there are also bunch of communities online available, Slack communities,
Yes,
etc. So you could also join that, because then you'll find other immigrant. And I've been part of like multiple startup immigrant community where they will say like, hey, I'm in this space, I am technical person, but I'm looking for like a COO or operations guy, or I'm not good at all with finance, so we are
right,
looking for this. We could give you as a third founding team member or a third co-founder. um, I'm not just saying like for that, but also this is where you can reach out to the people as well. So networking is going to be the key thing, I think, in your entrepreneurship journey, is
yes.
what I understand, other than all the other 10,000 things that you'll have to do.
Yeah, I mean, networking is the most important thing of those 10,000 things. So yes.
Hmm, amazing. What So again, I know we are wrapping up this. What are some of the common misconception that you think there are about starting a business as an international student?
Right. So as an international student, a lot of people actually think that you cannot start a company, but that's not true.
Mhm.
You can start a company. You can start a company while you are in school. It doesn't really make a difference when you start. It's just like if you have an idea, don't go with the like the traditional way that you go for a job and then you rely on your H1B, things are changing. Start your own startup. I mean, if you have confidence, if finding a right person is important. If you have a perfect co-founder, just start that. Just see how those things are going. Because in the first year of OPT, you can be self-employed, and the visa requirements are really flexible for you. So just go with it. I mean, I've seen people talking that, oh, I don't think that we can do that, or maybe I don't think that two immigrants cannot start a company. But that's not true.
Hmm.
If even if you are two people who came from India, studying together, have an idea, you can start a company. That's not a problem. So
Love it. Um, Anything different would you do now that you have gone through this journey about a year or so now? Anything different would you do in your journey?
I would start early. That's what I say. Yes, like I waited till my graduation to actually completely work on this product. But if I would know things earlier, that at that time also I was like during my fourth semester, I was in confusion that should I do this, should I not do this. So I wish if I would be really clear about it and I would have started things earlier,
Mm.
I might be a little ahead in time. So
Mm, nice. Okay. Love it. Any other, again, this has been amazing. I feel like this is like a very nice first video for someone to watch if they are an international student and
right,
an immigrant to start a company. And then hopefully people can reach out to you and ask more detailed questions. But
definitely.
this was very helpful. I know this was our goal purpose, that we want to
Yes.
help other entrepreneurs. So I think we did it. But any other last words of wisdom before we wrap?
Um, I I mean, just start. Just do what you want to do, because I've seen people that like, let's just work for now. Let's just work. It doesn't work that way. If you have an idea,
Mm,
just give it a shot. Just try it. Just try it. That's what I
nice.
would say.
Just
Yeah.
just do it, like Nike says.
Yeah, just do it.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Again, thank you, Vipul, for doing this. I can't wait to do another video, possibly on robotics, because again, I know there's a lot of people interested in that as well. But we'll talk about it in the next one. But until our next one.
Sure. Until our next one, keep smiling, keep hustling, guys.
Nice.
All right.
Amazing.